Hello there. Good to be here. So my name is Ted Verani. I'm head of business development for Scientific Revenue. I'm actually, brochure might say Bill Grosso. I'm actually here. Suddenly couldn't be here, so I'm glad to be here. We are located in San Mateo, California, just south of San Francisco. So it came away to be here. And we do one thing. We increase in-app. So we do dynamic pricing for net purchases. We focus on increasing in-app purchase revenue. So what we have is a dynamic price management framework, platform, that allows us in real time to segment your players and deliver the right price at the right time, the right location, to increase conversion, to increase basket size, purchase amounts if you already are a player in the game, but mostly focusing on extending lifetime revenue for your game for the long term and increase profitability for games publishers and studios. But we're not going to talk too much about that. And we're not getting into game design. So we actually don't touch game UI. We don't touch anything. We don't get involved at all with in-game economy or virtual currencies. We watch it. And it's an important thing to watch the velocity of that. But what we manage is just the real money currencies and the offer amount, for the game. So, but along the way, we actually have quite a bit of exposure and involvement with the game experience. And we invite you to come to our site. After that, I'm going to share some trends and observations that you yourself can do, and tips. And also come to our website. We have a pretty good resource section, a pretty good blog where we share insights that we've uncovered along the way, as well as observations learned from other people. So before we get into trends, let's talk about what's not a trend. The in-app purchase revolution's over. So we think that, you just look at the rankings right now. So top 100 games in the App Store, 99 of those are free, and one is premium. Minecraft. So unless you're going to build the next Minecraft and you're sitting here kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to go premium, versus free to play, frankly, if you're in the business of wanting to try to make some money, for your game, you really need to, the question is not if you go in-app purchase, but it's really how you do it and how you leverage in-app purchases to create a really compelling user experience, for the players in your game, but how you can also best monetize them for the long run. Also not a trend, the big data revolution is also over. So this is an article from Target, from the US. So Target is a kind of a mid-level, mid-tier retailer in the US. And this article is from 4 years ago. And Target's not a technologically prowess company out there. They're not the cutting edge of stuff in general. But the point here is that online retailers for a long time now have been taking data about their customers, using that to inform how they make an offer, and also even how they price. Amazon changes their price 3 or 5 times a day, for their customers. We're in actually a pretty good opportunity. From a mobile phone, we have actually a lot more data and information about players in our game, location being a huge predictor, device being a huge predictor, and of course the engagement in the game itself helps inform us. And we can probably change prices quite a bit faster. And we know we can within that company for our customers. In terms of trends, one, continuous optimization. So this is a slide. This is just taken directly from our pricing framework. So again, we've hidden the numbers for obvious reasons. We can't talk about who the game is. But these are 2 unique segments that we're tracking within our predictive analytics framework. What you'll see there, the Santa hat is Christmas. So Santa hat shows that all of a sudden the game went haywire in one one specific segment. So the point is, if you're setting your prices once, or you're doing kind of a one-size-fits-all pricing strategy, that's not going to work. Because your game is dynamic. People are coming in and out of your game all the time. You're doing different ad, campaigns, acquiring different types of users. Your game is global. Different cultures. People are coming into your game all the time. Different devices. New devices coming out with advanced, capabilities. All this information helps inform us in terms of pricing decisions. But the main point is, your game is dynamic. We think your pricing should also be dynamic. More on the continuous trend. So what this shows, and this also, it's a heat map. Left-hand side, I'll read it for you. Number of new users by date and hour. On the right-hand side, we have the number of purchasers by date and hour. In both cases, the lighter the color blue indicates more. So we're looking at the more new users, more purchasers on there. The point here is one other little trend or important thing to look at is an indicator for propensity to spend is one, join date. So the day that people join your game and the time that they join your game are hugely important, huge predictors in terms of willingness to spend on your game. In this specific game, and it varies by game, but this specific game, we have people who join at noon are 4 times more likely to spend than people who join at 5 a.m. So lesson is, don't acquire users at 5 a.m. Actually, in this case, also don't acquire users on Wednesday. And also in this game, you might want to try to monetize them right away because they're probably more likely not going to make a repeat purchase. Trend 2, game-specific optimization. So similarly, like different players are coming out of your game, no two games are the same. So why treat pricing similar approach to one game? So what works in one game may not necessarily work in another game. If you're trying to attract whales, a whale one game may not like another game you're having. So why treat it the same? And this is from the dashboard in there. So you want to have analytics, and obviously there's but the off-the-shelf analytics and user for the most part aren't going to be sufficient for helping you to make informed pricing decisions. So you want to track retention, absolutely, hugely important. But a couple other things you want to make sure you're looking at is the payer attrition. So the payers in your game who actually are leaving, and trying to understand at what cycle they're leaving within your game, and how to get them back potentially, as well as repeat purchase rate. This for us is not only we look at conversion, but we're also look at players who then repeat purchase, and we overlay that on top of each other to make a determination of lifetime revenue and value for that. To illustrate in this game, so it's two different games. In this game over here, actually, the control group is 10% higher. So the conversion was 10% lower in that game. Whereas in this one, we're actually going to get conversion to 30% higher. So what was the impact on the games? Two different games. Actually, the net result of it was the same. In both cases, we were able to get lifetime value lift of increase of 10% across the games. So message is that you actually can have a decrease in conversion, you can decrease retention, but also increase revenue. The big difference is, just keep in mind, every game is unique. Trend 3, feeder apps. And this is pretty cool. So also just a call out is, this is an article from, so observation we saw with a partner in working with them, but as Lloyd Melnick wrote a pretty nice article on this subject too. I think my slides are up, it's a long URL out there, or look them up. It's a good article on the same subject point. But what we saw was we were working with a partner, and they made lovely games. They actually, and even Apple loved them. They put a game out, and Apple always featured them, so they were quite fortunate with that, is they would have games that actually got great organic growth, high traffic, great retention, didn't monetize at all. And they came to us. They wanted help in terms of price optimization. Actually, the reality, it wasn't a pricing problem, right? They just didn't have the monetization hooks in there for the games, but they had beautiful other games. So in that case, I recommend, because it's also a smaller company, so going back, continuous optimization and doing game-specific pricing, all great ideas. Honestly, also hard to do if you're a smaller company, because if you have a portfolio of games, to keep your eye on every single game in your portfolio on that. But this is also another strategy that might work well with you, kind of a networking strategy. So what we did then, we told them, okay, create a game that can have power-ups, it can monetize well. It might appeal to a smaller group of players, but you're going to get a good lifetime value from those people in your game. Continue it doing on the other side, still make those great games that had high traffic, organic growth, virality, and retention, but instead of just putting an ad in those games and sending them to someone else's game, what we encourage them to do is put a native ad in there and just really kind of make it blend nicely within the UI. But instead, send it directly to your game that does monetize well. So you can also have a portfolio approach to your game strategy. So some games that are high traffic that become your feeder apps, and drive them into the games that you can monetize well with in-app purchases. Trend 4, go global. So here we have a Eastern Hemisphere map. Real data from a game. Left-hand side is usage. So here's the people who are playing your game, or this game in so a lot of people all over Europe, even going into Eastern Europe, Russia. You see Turkey, India, Southeast Asia, South Africa, good smattering across there. Over here on the right-hand side, these are the payers. So these are the people converted from here over into paying. So pretty familiar story, I'm sure. People in Western Europe, paying the game. If we had U.S., also paying within the game itself too. And then little pockets around maybe some high urban areas. Korea, is looking pretty good for this game. But you have a big opportunity now, right? It's like slowly. You may be aware of this, may not be, or maybe, I guess the bigger question, if you are aware of it, are you doing anything about it, is that, both Google and Apple are now slowly introducing lower price tiers, right? So Apple right now has 7, soon to have 10 price tiers. Great opportunity for you to recognize that some countries, like India, have a lot of players, but not as affluent. You can now lower the price to 10 rupees in Google Play for them and convert some of those players. So you're going to still make the majority of your money into the larger countries in which you do well, but you have people playing your game. It's really an incremental revenue opportunity, and it becomes, why not? Just do a little bit of extra work and tune your prices for those countries. And it works, and we see this. We could probably get, just by internationalization, usually one of the first things we do with a partner, we've been seeing lift to just 10% from tuning just internationally for companies. Trend 5, fairness. It's actually a picture of people in Greece lining up, in case you're curious. The fairness, what here, so step back, 2012 years, a viable strategy was to, hunt whales, nurture them, take them in your game, and just really a whale hunting strategy and try to hold them and just not really worry about, the other players in your game. Just focus on the whales in your game and just take them. Fast forward today, honestly, we think that's not good enough. Mobile games are now mass market. You have 1 billion players. People playing all over the world. And so we also think it's much healthier now to have a broader base of players. So we're trying to get a conversion up to 5% within a game, and trying to get the repeat purchase up there as well, lifetime revenue. So focus more on getting a broader base of people purchasing and purchasing again within your game instead of just hunting whales within your game, and we'll think it'd be better. Now to get there, how you do that is being in tune and optimize your prices. So back to these folks here, so kind of related to globalness. No one would fault you for maybe lowering the price in Greece for these players. They're on €1, so why charge them the same price, say, someone in Finland or Greece? I think it makes sense to give them a break to play your game. Similarly within market, within, say, Germany or, US, we think it's also a good opportunity to segment your users and price point. Some players within your game are just not going to spend. So if you can identify those, segment them out, and provide a very targeted promotion for them, get them over the hump, make that first purchase. We see also pretty good data that says that they're then more likely to go to regular pricing. They just need to get over the hump to make that first purchase, and they're more likely to become a repeat purchasers. And the characteristics and signals go on and on for that. But the main message, main point is begin to start pricing on the demand curve and take into account price sensitivities of players within your games. Trend 6, training users, or maybe more accurately said, letting users train themselves. It's a simple truth, I guess, so well observed and periodically gets rediscovered along the way, is the idea that if someone tries your game and uses it once, actually more likely to continue to come back and purchase again. So right now when you want to get people to purchase currency, you can put them energy gate and make that to buy in order to keep going to the next level, continue playing their game. Or another way is to give them a taste. Let them try the game, make your store easy to use and find. The main point is letting you have a lot of cool stuff that they can buy, can have a more engaged experience. Give them a try. So you can do that by a grant right off the bat, particularly if it's a more complicated game that has a tutorial. That's a really good idea. But in this case, what we've seen, I think, and we heard earlier, is incentivized video. Great way, and we don't do that. But what we've seen in the studies out there, and I think it was a GameSpeed gentleman from Supersonic mentioned this too, that they saw that incentivized video, instead of going away from in-app purchases, actually helped increase in-app purchase revenue for their clients. And the data proves itself, and it can be true. So people are going to buy, you're going to watch a video, get the coins, go in and make a purchase. Maybe they're just going to watch another video, get more coins to keep playing. Great, you're still going to pay that way. But a lot of people are going to just not bother with that video and just get right in there and start paying it again and using it for them. So people like Outfit 7 with Talking Tom series are doing a great job in this respect. Trend 7. So earlier, kind of like everything, every rule has to have an exception. So the exception for premium doesn't work is in the case of premium apps for strong children's IP. So if you are Winnie the Pooh, or you're Disney and you have a really strong IP brand, you can get away with doing premium app purchases. But you really do need to have a strong IP. You probably need to really be making a game that is sensitive material, and geared towards children. No one wants to be that person in the press who gets beat up for gouging children in terms of pricing. So you can work in that level. And then you need cross-media, cross-channel promotional opportunities. So if you can make a great game for children, but if you're just going to allow it to be discovered in the App Store, it's going to be a challenging road for you. Trend 8, last one. DL taking a page from the console players out there is DLC for premium apps. So this is Monument Valley. I think it won the best game Apple in 2014. So very nice game. It's a premium game. I think it's like $3.99 in the App Store. But here it's like for some games like Monument Valley and others, and children's games we just talked about. Also, they don't lend themselves very logically and nicely for incremental monetization opportunities. But you still have an opportunity to sell additional content, take another level to them for people who really, really like the game a lot. And that's a good opportunity for you too, because the fact is you have to support and maintain that game over long term, so it's a good way for you to make additional revenue. That's it. So I'm here the rest of the show. That's my email address, Scientific Revenue. If you guys are interested in dynamic pricing and want to see how we might potentially be able to help you, we're happy to talk.